Well, probably the day you were auditioning for Netflix, I had a really big show.
Yeah, please tell us
really
about
big
it.
show. The audience, 100% blind people.
This sounds like the show you did after the lights turned off. Was it the same show?
They would love that show. They would have
You're like, what's crazy is I just did this.
All blind, and I get there, and I did not see this coming. They were all really old blind people.
So it was
It was like an organization
okay
of blind people.
Yeah.
You know?
Disabled.
No, just blind.
That's not abled.
Yeah, well, okay. But specifically
We'll cut that.
Specifically, let's start the episode now.
Yeah.
Specifically this one disability.
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
they're all,
Not
all
across
blind
okay.
folks. So like, and very nice. The venue was like really trying to accommodate them. Everyone, needs a little bit of help, like ordering or like kind of finding
Yeah.
a way around.
Yeah.
So it just takes, the show starts very late. It takes a lot of time for everyone to get going. And they have a guy like kind of recording audio to then project it if people are hearing impaired, and then people who are like at home are listening in, just like listening for the audio.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But it's funny because I was hosting, and I'm like, I didn't want to be too dirty, but while I'm on stage doing my set, I'm realizing how many of my jokes require either having seen me or having seen literally anything for the last 20 years. Because not only are these people blind, they're old, so they've been blind for a long time. So I can't be like, oh yeah, you guys know, Batman or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, I mean, we know the idea of Batman.
Oh, that's so.
We don't know what Christian Bale looks like.
You think about also like so many jokes you're doing for a private gig too, especially. You're not trying to do like your maybe nebulous stuff. You're trying to do like more down the middle.
Well, I'm trying to remember like the jokes where I'm like, oh, I knew kind of what to avoid, and then as it's coming out of my mouth, I go, they're not going to get that.
Yeah.
They don't know what the hell I look like,
Did you have, so you had yourself on, and then we had the great Ben Noble was
a couple
on,
other
right?
comics, and then of course the headliner.
Yeah.
We brought out one of their hometown heroes.
Hometown heroes. That's great.
But I was talking about this. So the comic Ben Noble, very funny comic, who's visually impaired, closes the show, and once he got going, they were loving him. He's doing all this stuff about being blind, about like their experience. But it took him a minute for them to warm up to him.
I thought you were gonna say to find the stage.
Well, that as well. He was in the alley for a while talking to a couple of raccoons.
He's like, this show is cold, dude. Damn.
No, he that's terrible. It took them a minute to warm up to him because he starts talking about like being blind and how there's all these blind people there. You got to remember, they don't see him with the cane and everything that he uses, so they thought he was just making fun of blind people.
Oh no!
Yeah.
He didn't say he was blind.
He said something like, "Oh, I heard there's a lot of my people here," and some of them didn't pick up on that
because that could have been like his whatever. Yeah, that could have been a lot of things.
Well, they weren't black, I'll tell you that.
And so for a minute, they're like, "Why is this guy
They're going?
in?"
This guy's making fun of blind people a lot. And he said something that like you kind of would have to be blind to know, and they were like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
That's fun. He's got one of those. He's got such great jokes about my favorite joke that he has. It's not even a blind joke, but he goes, "I'm in a long distance relationship.
She live in the future.
Yeah, my girlfriend. She live far away. She live real far away. She live in the future. She fucking somebody right now."
Ben's so funny, dude.
Yeah, that's great.
He had a killer set.
Well, then didn't you say after the show that they were like, because they're old, they're white.
It turns out blind people, they can't see, they can't drive, they can't see great, they can be racist.
Yes, yeah. That's
didn't
cool
know
about
that.
racism. You can do it at any point.
So funny without even really be able to see the race. They're listening, going, but from what I hear, I don't like this guy.
Oh no! Yeah. What was the exact? They said something to the venue owner. What did they say?
I forget.
Something
about
very funny. They're like
something
like little accent or something. They said something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
Which
okay,
I guess they're extra perceptive too.
I was. If you only have all your other senses go up, so you got to
even your racism is in the ears, dude.
Well, on the blind note, this is it's weird to have a good segue from that to
but
this.
Here we are.
So, Catherine, my girlfriend, her parents
Vic has a
gifted
girlfriend.
us,
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. It's right here. Her parents gifted us a spa package to use on Christmas. They're like, here's some money, you can go do a spa day. And so we made this appointment, and it's a nice place in Chicago. And I'm not going to say the name of it, but it's bougie.
Okay.
We go there. We're doing like a couples thing. So
Sure.
we have 2 massage people, and we have like a whole day planned. We get there, and I'm like filling out the paperwork, and they're like, okay, Catherine, here's your masseuse. And just a normal looking guy, and then they're like, Vic, here's your masseuse. Okay, look, I want to say this. I'm making a lot of blind jokes, disabled jokes. I love all people. You know that it was a blind masseuse. I'm not kidding. Cane and everything.
Right.
And I was like,
and are you and Catherine in the same room together?
we're in the same room, but she's like, she kind of like is like, it's like happening.
So
pretty
someone's got
fast.
to look. I
Yeah,
mean,
and so she's like, I'm like, you're gonna leave me? Like, she starts walking to her room. I
Yeah,
was like,
right.
hey, let's like tag team. What's going on? So she leaves, and then he goes, hey, I'm Marcos. He's looking the other way. He's like, hey, I'm Marcos.
Well, yeah.
And I'm like, look. I looked at the lady, and she was
Marcos
like,
over here.
that's, and I was like, I can't be like,
Right, you
give
can't-
me
yeah.
somebody else.
but okay, before we get into too many details, was it a good massage?
It was pretty good, but
Pretty good.
in the room.
Because now that I think about it, you don't really have to be able to see to give a massage.
You don't have to need to be able to see, but here's the problem. We're in the room together, and it's like, it's a massage. It's supposed to be
He's trying to
relaxing.
find the oil.
He's like bumping into shit. There's noises, and I was like, I'm like,
He's like, you're like falling asleep. He's like,
yeah.
Vic, can you hand me the baby oil? Vic, does this say oil or Windex? What does
He's
this
like,
say?
hey, can you
What
open the
does
door?
it say?
But it was just like, it was.
Vic, I have to go to the bathroom.
I've never been more tense while getting a massage. I'm like flexing the whole because it's just like I'm
He's
worried.
like, you feel tense.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, dude. I'm already gonna fucking grab something.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
like,
worried gonna get canceled because I'm gonna talk about this on my podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And
That's
it was
hilarious.
It was one of those
man.
positions where you're like, I can't say anything.
But you think suboptimal massage?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Because of the vibe. Even if he
I
was
want
good.
it to be like it's like Daredevil, where he's like extra good at.
That's
it,
what
you know?
I was hoping, 'cause we
Where
talked
he's like,
about-
he can read your aura or something.
No, and
you know?
it was funny because he starts doing something with neck. He's like, "Hey, do you get migraines?" He's like, I was like, "No." He goes, "Oh, because sometimes necks." I'm like, "Don't be making predictions. You can't see." All right. And I was like, "Don't
making
predictions." I was like, "Focus on the task at hand." All right. But it was just like it was so stressful because I'm like every movement he made, I was like nervous. I
You
was
think
like,
he
he's
was
gonna
going to go for the happy ending?
Yeah, something. I mean, he's like, man, I'm like, that's my finger, actually.
He goes, yeah. He goes, flip over. You go, I am flipped
I'm
over.
flipped.
Yeah, that's how big it is, actually.
But I was a little pissed off at the place because I was like,
no, you got to let him do it.
you let him do it. It's like this is why I'm happy DEI is going away. You know, it's this is why it's good to get rid of it. But I was like, you can't. As the place, they should be like, FYI. They should say it before you
guy's
get there.
blind.
They should just say that. It's like
But I think it's weirder if they go, "Hey, we're excited to see you today at noon for your massage.
Well,
By the
they-
way, the guy's blind."
I guess it's true. Because you'd be like, is this a joke?
And also, like, where do you draw the line? They go, "Hey, thanks for coming in for your massage. This guy's got a club foot. Like, what do you need to know? What do you need to disclose? You know,
Yeah, how many
he's got emotional
disabilities-
baggage.
Yeah, this guy might cry.
Yeah,
during
he's
the
got all his senses, but he's having a kind of a rough week. His dog died. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, man. And it reminded
As
me.
long as you could play through.
I
know?
had a when I was like working my 9-to-5 job, I had this. This was another.
This
thing.
is what it just
Yeah.
reminded me of this. The
So
Handy.
the Handy.
Yes.
There was an app called Handy that was like a startup, and it was
Yeah.
for like it was basically Uber for cleaning people.
Right.
So I
I
was
remember
using
this.
it.
I was going to
and
bring this up.
I use it, and I do use it a few times.
They
straight.
send a cleaning person to your
They
house.
send a cleaning person. I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm going to keep using this. So one time I called it. A woman shows up, one hand.
Which is only funny because the thing is called Handy.
I was like, change it to handless.
It's not. It's
Yeah,
not called Handsy. It's just one Handy. I mean, it's accurately named.
You're right. It actually is
It's
one.
Handy.
It's not hands.
Right.
Yeah, it's handy.
Handy.
But I was also in
Which
that
also,
situation.
backing up, to name a business Handy that doesn't exclusively
Do
operate in
hand
hand jobs
jobs.
is hilarious.
But also, it's gonna double the time of the cleaning.
Did it?
Yeah. I was like, I scheduled
But
for
did
2
she
hours.
do the same thorough job?
Of course not. You can't go. I mean, it was a little hand too. The other hand was little. It was a little hand. So you're quarter hands at that point.
And were you there?
Yeah, I had to watch. I
Oh,
was
I
like,
would have to leave.
Oh, it was crazy. And I was like, this is a bit. Someone's putting. This is a prank. Like,
Yeah,
this
right,
is-
right. There's like a hidden camera show.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I left them like that was the thing where it's an app, so they're like, "Oh, how'd it go?" And I was like, "It was good," but like I had to be here for 4 hours because it was supposed to be.
And then
an
do you
hour.
have to charge? Do you have to pay by the hour?
Yeah, so I was like,
So you have
"This
to
is-"
pay twice as
So I
much.
had to pay more for like obviously a worse job. Like you can't get
It's tough because like
that
these
one
people,
though.
These people have to do something.
Yeah, but do something.
Yeah.
Do something else. Do something with
Right.
a headset.
Start a podcast.
Yeah, start a podcast.
do something with a headset.
I mean, just because it's like you're also scrubbing and shit. You're holding like every appliance. Think about everything you used to clean.
but it's dude, it's tough if they're doing that job. Like, imagine the number of other jobs that they would have rather
Yeah,
had.
true,
You
that's
know, the point that they're already at that one. To take that one away, they're like,
what else did they? There are people like, no, you can't be doing that.
right?
Yeah.
they're auditioning to be a juggler at the circus. Like, I can't do that.
So I mean, it was wild because I was just laughing. I'm like, it sucks when you're paying for something and then that's
Yeah, sure.
and that with the cleaning thing I paid more, but the massage thing I was like, well, this is not relaxing at all.
Yeah, I feel like I had something like similar too, like getting a massage or something where I'm just like, if you go to a place where it's a little cheaper, but they don't speak a word of English.
Yes.
You're either gonna get the best massage of your life, or I'm just scared the entire time.
Well, one time I did that, and I like was like, she's like, it was very broken English, and I
Yeah.
was like, dude, just do like a normal massage, and then like 3 minutes later, she's
got her
walking
finger up
on
your
me.
ass.
No, she's walking on me.
At least those ladies are small.
I know,
you know?
but I was like, hey,
She's
what's
walking.
I was like, you got to give someone a
The
heads up.
blind guy's better than
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
He's
But
tapping you with the cane.
yeah, so moral of the story is, well, like I said, now it's all going away, which is good.
It's all going
yeah.
away.
No
Yeah.
more. That's why comedy's gonna get back to straight men. You're up, straight white men.
Thank you.
It's your time.
We're done with all
Take
these
it back.
all these Indian
Take
comedians.
it back. Okay, what else do we have to? Oh, so talking about private gigs, I did this one today. I got hired to do it was a Indian like couple celebration. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be like a dating type of thing, like maybe
Yeah.
like a meetup. So I get there and it's a very like Indian event. There's like the women are doing mehndi, they're doing like
It's,
the
it's a
tattoo.
very Indian event. The women are in one room. The men
Yes,
are in different.
yeah, no,
really?
exactly. It's different table and everything. But then the
Wait, what were they doing with Mehndi?
mehndi is the Indian like tattoo, like
Okay.
like, that
Like henna.
thing. Henna, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which
we-
hilarious if like at a singles event, be like, do it on my lower back.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
getting flirty. Yeah.
Give me a tramp stamp.
Yeah, I had a tramp stamp, bro.
So they're doing like it, and I was like, well, "Is this like a sing?" Like I didn't know what
Yeah.
it was, and then the guy who booked me comes up to me, and goes, "Hey, so my son is." I was like, "What is this event?" He goes, "My son is dating right now, but we want him to get married. He's dating this woman. He's like, we want him to commit. So basically, we're throwing this party to be like, get married." I'm like,
To the woman he's currently dating.
"He's currently with."
Oh, I thought they were throwing it to be like, pick one of these.
No, that's what
women.
I thought. So I'm like, you're basically it's all these uncles who are probably just like getting drunk and be like, you should get married. Like that's what I
It's
feel
like it's like they threw a party just to be like to pressure this guy. into
pressure
getting
this
married.
guy, and it was so.
And how long have they been together? Do you know?
A few years, and
oh,
and,
okay.
and
So
she
it is
wasn't
a
there.
reasonable timeline where
But
they
it's
should
a
think about
weird
marriage.
party to be like, hey, we're all doing
That's
this
not
big.
a party.
That's
an interrogation.
Yes.
I don't know. That's not
and
right.
so I booked
that is some very Indian stuff.
AJ Leidick to open.
Famous
and
Indian comedian.
Famous Indian comedian AJ Leidick. Let's put a picture of him up. And he goes up, and I told him like what I knew, and he goes, so it's like a reverse bachelor party.
Hilarious.
Which is
Hilarious.
And he opened with that, and it killed. And I was like, so they all just start fucking with this guy. They're like, yeah, you fucking idiot, get married.
Which also like a crazy. It's got to be so much money to throw a party, cater, hire you,
Yeah.
all of that. When they're like, you couldn't just take them out to dinner, and have a conversation.
It
with
was
the guy?
very bizarre.
That's such an Indian thing where they're like, well, we couldn't talk to him.
No, and that's exactly
know?
what it was. Because then AJ did this crowd work thing, which I thought was so funny, and this is how you knew it was an Indian event. He goes to the father of the kid. He was like, "So, what's one thing you're proud of your son?" Couldn't say it.
Oh,
In a room full of people, he
that
was
hurts
just,
me.
He goes, he's a foodie like me, and so AJ goes, so he likes to eat. And then the mom is also. I'm like, mom, Indian mom, you know,
Right,
she's gonna
different.
say for the son, silence. And I was like,
Bro.
no wonder you have to throw a party to communicate with this kid.
Right.
So it was so crazy, but it ended up being it was one of these like older homes where the basements were like it was like 9-foot ceilings, so it was so low,
Sure. Yeah.
packed in. It was like a club. It was like
Yeah.
a new comedy cellar. I was like,
Yeah,
this is like the
that's
Bollywood
funny.
cellar.
Well, I was
dude.
gonna say,
This
yeah.
it was incredible. It was a super fun show. They're like dying crowd work, and so it ended up being fun. But after I left, I was like, I was not expecting with those type of people doing that event for the show to be that good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you would expect
Every
those
once in
two
a while, you
things.
get surprised by one. you
Yeah.
know?
So it was great, but I just like I've never heard it. I was like, this is not a religious thing. I'm like, because he was like, oh, this is a Hindu event. I'm like, no, this is you, dog. Don't put this on us. Yeah, don't put this on the religion.
Bro, that's
this is peer
hilarious.
pressure, is what this is.
That's awesome. I did something similar. I did a retirement party like a couple of Sundays ago, middle of the afternoon. Like it's like an hour or so away in Indiana. I drive out there. I get there and I'm like, bro, this is gonna be a disaster.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of kids, which I didn't know. There's like half the room are kids.
At the retirement.
It's a retirement party. This woman who worked at like eye doctor's office, and all the doctor's kids are there. Each one of them. So it's all these little Indian kids running around, and I'm like, well, that changes the whole show. I can't say half the stuff I was gonna say. This is so funny. There's like a bartender. So in like a private room at this restaurant, and I go up to the bar, and I'm about to start the show, and I go, hey, can I just have a glass of water? And he goes, there's water at the tables. And I go, well, I'm not sitting at a table. Because there's like place settings. I go, I'm not sitting at a table. And he looks at me like crazy. And he goes, are you some kind of entertainer? And I go, yeah. And then he goes, what? And I'm like, I'm going to be doing a comedy show. And he goes, oh, well, why comedy?
Now you get into your bio.
Yeah,
He's like
not
interviewing
even.
you.
It's like philosophical, like why comedy? And I looked at him like shocked. Like I don't even. This is all within 2 seconds. I'm looking at him like
you're like, I don't know. Why.
I'm looking at him being like, it's moments like this when I go, I don't think I should be doing this. It's like, is this guy my guardian angel? Being like, run, get out, be an accountant.
He's like, what? You could still change your life.
He goes, why comedy? And looks
so
at
funny.
me, and I go, I looked at him and I go, I don't know. It's usually pretty fun. I look around and go, probably not today. And then he goes, oh, all right. Well, I'll make sure they turn off the music when you get started. Do you need anything? And I go, a glass of water. It's been 2 minutes. All I wanted was
any
glass
job
of
leads you
I
have.
go, a glass of, it was so one of those things where you're driving home and it's again. He's not thinking about me. I'm thinking about him a lot.
I'm gonna think about that.
On the drive home, I go, what I should have said was, why bartending?
yeah, exactly.
Well,
Why bartending?
and he was like this little kind of like fruity, clearly like kind of like.
What do you mean fruity?
You know what I mean. He's, fruity. He was kind of like, he looked like a theater kid, but as an adult who's like a bartender, and like one of those guys who's like doesn't really have his life together. You know, he's launching a crystal shop on Instagram.
This is the
whatever.
only time he can say that to anybody.
Why
is
comedy?
if you're up there, because he's like, you're doing something here too.
Yeah,
like, what
right.
the fuck are you doing?
And then, but against all odds, it was a great show.
Good.
Right off the top, they all get quiet, pay attention. Another thing, I'm killing for like the first 15 minutes. I do a bunch of jokes about the lady who's retiring, whatever. I'm supposed to do like a half hour. I'm killing for 15 minutes. It's a family-style Italian restaurant. They start serving food.
Oh.
Not only, which is a distraction, whatever. It's a thing I have to roll with. And they asked if I wanted to do my set after they all ate, but I would have to wait like an hour and a half. I go, no, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Unless you knew before. And
right.
Shit, yeah.
So they start serving food, but it's like, because it's an Italian restaurant, it's like each table, 15 plates.
Oh,
family style.
Family style.
They go
and
pasta, a different pasta, a salad, a different salad, bread.
15
chicken,
minutes to course
a different
the food.
kind of chicken. It's like pizzas at every table. It's just constant service to where at some point I go, I could be saying anything. People have no idea I'm even
they're
here
eating
and I was
at this point.
killing a second ago. Just the drop off,
Yeah.
and eventually got it back and like ended nice. But I was like, man, it was.
It's like when they drop checks at the club and you're killing.
Only if they did 10 checks per table.
Yeah. Yeah, and it lasted for 20 minutes.
And they're all passing the checks to each other. It was like
that's brutal.
So yeah, everything's going pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, I have one more private, kind of not story, but I did this fundraiser show in next to Milwaukee, and they hired it's like a United Way fundraiser, so they're raising money for the community. They're basically doing all these things where like all these services in the community, like Wi-Fi, like all like food, like soup kitchen stuff.
Which is hilarious, that Wi-Fi.
That's what I said that. I was like, do you guys even have like cell service? I'm like, you guys are raffling off Wi-Fi.
Well, and that they're like Wi-Fi and then food.
Yeah. Well, that is the order.
And then maybe a place to sleep.
Because I was like, how'd you hear about the show Facts? Like, how'd you
That's funny.
How'd you get into this? So before us, they do this big raffle. They're raising, so people have to spend a good amount of money on a ticket.
Yeah.
Then they sit at these tables, and then this local MC goes up and tries to get them to bid on all these items.
Right.
And they're supposed to spend more money. So she's doing like, and the items are like, it's all like dark stuff. It's like, hey, these kids don't have coats for the winter.
Oh, it's not even like you win a prize.
No, it's like serious shit. And then we're going to do comedy after this.
Of course.
But literally, my favorite, she goes, all right, so, and God bless this MC because it's silent. All these, no one's bidding, and she keeps dropping the price. So she goes, this next is for a fun for like.
At some point, they're like, okay, if you guys don't donate, we're gonna kill these kids.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna execute these kids in front of you.
They're gonna die. If
Can
you
someone
don't
raise your paddle if you want to save the kids? Nobody. Anybody?
She's like, for $80 for domestic abuse survivors, and it's just quiet. And I'm like, y'all don't give a fuck about these people. It was just so crazy. So we're supposed to start at 8. This is like 7:15, and I have a local guy opening, and he gets there at 7:30, and he walks in the green room. So I'm like, yeah, we got like 30 more minutes. I'm kind of relaxing. Then I start to hear at 7:32 her introducing him because it's his bio. I hear like Milwaukee Improv. I start to hear like some bits of comedy stuff, and I like poke my head out.
You go, you better get out there.
And then he's like putting his bag down and stuff. She has bailed out 30 minutes early because
from doing the auction.
Because it went so fast because no one was bidding.
No one was bidding.
So she's like, I'm going to start the show, I guess. And didn't check with us, didn't check in, none of that. We're in a separate room. We're like attached to the stage. So then, and I'm like, and she seems like she's pouring sweat and she just looks like a mess. And apparently I had heard a little bit, she had broken all of her toes.
And do you know how?
So she had tripped over the dog. So she had
her dog.
Her dog, yeah, not.
Which is, everyone raise your paddle, or we're gonna kill the dog.
Exactly. But what was crazy?
Wait, also, how do you trip over your dog and only break all of your? Oh, okay, back to the domestic violence.
Yes.
She's covering something up.
I
tripped over the dog and just broke all my toes.
All your toes
What?
is also. How did you fall? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did you break
landed on your toes?
Yeah, where are your hands in this?
Yeah.
Maybe
And
she
your
was
face,
the person cleaning. She had one hand, little hand.
Oh my god!
But breaks all of her toes, and I'm like, don't do the event.
Right.
You're standing emceeing something for an hour. You just broke all your toes. You can't even stand up.
So is she in crutches?
So she's not in crutches, but she's wearing
Like a boot?
knee-high boots which are heels. I'm like, you need to be
not like a therapeutic boot.
She needs to wear those glove things they put on your feet.
Right, that's
those,
what I
like,
thought you were
boots.
saying. Yeah.
No, like not a therapeutic,
No brace,
like a
nothing.
fashion boot. I was like, you're not going to the
So
club.
she's just like powering through it.
Yes, that's why she's pouring sweat. She's powering through, and then she basically
popping OxyContin every fucking 2 hours.
She's like trying to get off the stage and to make her way from the stage to the she's like can't even walk. So I don't even know how she got up because I didn't see the introduction to it. So she's like, it looks like a Three Stooges like sketch. She's like falling like this. And nobody.
Damn, she's funnier than you.
It's so comical that people in the audience are like, they think she's doing a bit. I'm like, this lady is dying in front of you.
They're like, that opener was hilarious.
Yeah, so
I broke my foot on the
I rush
dog
up. Her
bit.
husband, by the way, could not have cared. This man is slowly coming. He's going to help her off the stage.
Yeah.
He's 40 feet back. She's about to fall off the stage. I go up there. I like have her, and she's like, yeah, and she's like out of it. She's like delusional. She's pouring sweat. She's just like. So then I'm like, all right, we're going to start the show in a few minutes. I'm like, I need to talk to the organizer to be like, what is happening? Are we starting? So it ended up being a great show, but in the middle, it was just
it's all that, and you go, I had a great set.
Yeah, it was. But I started the set. I was like, keep it going for Carol. I'm like, and then she just disappears after. I'm like,
yeah, she might be dead.
She might be dead. I was like, she might be dead.
Yeah.
And she was a radio host of the local town. So like halfway through my set, my mic started getting weird. I was like, man, the ghost of Carol. She's fucking with us.
Oh my god.
But I was like.
Nothing like local radio.
It's so funny that I'm like, I go, man, I gotta stop talking shit. My local radio fans are gonna really be upset about this.
All 8 people who were tuning in.
But it's just funny when like you think about people trying to plan an event. I'm like, they had this big advertisement, like they had me and all my info. Then they had her like special local MC.
And
like
they
it was
think people are gonna be like,
oh my god,
Carol from 8 and 8 in the morning. Oh my god,
from the very specific 8 and 8 in the morning or whatever. But. Shout out to Carol. I hope you're alive.
Shout out to Carol.
Yeah, we don't know. I was like, please tell me what happened.
One of the worst ones are those that I've done where you were talking about, they're like, it's sad before the comedy
Yes.
show. I did one last year. It was a fundraiser for a humane society. Between every comic and before I went up, they're parading mangled dogs across the stage. Not even like they do the story. Oh, we met this dog, and they show the slide, and he's like 20 pounds, and they go, he was chained up, and they were beating him with hot bacon grease, and they were and he just looks all sad, and then they bring the dog out, and he limps across the stage.
So it's no, not just pictures.
Live.
They have the live dog,
and then they go, and here he comes. People are weeping, and then they're standing up cheering, "Yay, buddy!" And he's and each one. They go, hey, we're going to start. You're going to be up in about 5 minutes. It's like 40 minutes because it takes the dogs like 8 minutes to get
disabled.
Across. They're lumbering across the stage. I go, pick the fucking thing up. And by the time I go up there, everyone's like weeping.
Everyone's emotionally exhausted.
They're drained. And then I have to be like, hey, clap if you're dating. Like, what?
I did my first ever college gig I did. It was when colleges hire you, they're either like, this is a comedy show, but more often than not, it's like you're added onto some other event. Mm-hmm. It was like a telethon for cancer survivors.
Okay.
So
for pro cancer survivor.
yeah,
we're gonna finish the job. We gotta raise this money. We're gonna kill these
take
kids.
these kids out. They've been taking too long to go. Enough is enough.
We get these baldies out of here.
But it was crazy. So they're doing this big PowerPoint before, which is always great
Yeah.
to follow a PowerPoint, by the way, in
Right.
comedy.
Let alone the saddest PowerPoint of all time.
Yeah, they're showing this like their horrific stats, all these images, and then
Everyone in this room has cancer. Yeah.
I'm like, all right, it's almost over, whatever. Right before they bring me up, they're like, well, so there's no host, no intro, right? But I was like, all right, at least I can just start.
I'm
and try.
scared.
And they go, we have a special treat. Some of the kids recorded jokes from the hospital bed.
Oh, no.
So they have not a live stream. Obviously, the kid didn't make it, but it was it was recorded previously.
They got a deathbed stream.
They have a video of the
These kids going.
kid is
knock,
in.
knock.
Yeah, yes. and the
Who's
twin-
there?
Knock
God.
jokes.
And he wants me to come home.
And I was like, you can't do that. That's the only thing worse than the dog is a kid.
Yeah.
And then-
a dying kid, and then you have to go up and be funnier than them.
I have to be funnier than they're not going to give me more than
Right.
they gave that. Yeah. It was so crazy. And I was just like, oh, this is not. That's one of those guys you're like, you're being paid a lot, but you're just like, feels so bad inside.
Yeah.
They're like, is it worth the trade-off?
Yeah.
Because that stayed with me for a long time because I'm like, also, it just, you're setting up the comedy to fail. Like, put the comedy first, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, something.